Today we're building a double door cabinet. The brand name is Performance. It was bought at Source Office Furnishings. Main thing, just have a box to put all your garbage in. Try and keep everything separated as you go. The cleaner your work area is, the better it will be. You're not tripping over stuff, you're not damaging product. It'll all work out the best. Everything comes with a little bit of styrofoam on it, so I usually give a little quick wipe as I go. At the same time, I give the piece a look just to make sure that it's not damaged. There's a top that comes with this cabinet, but today we are going to be adding this with a two-drawer lateral file to make it a credenza with a common top, shared top. This cabinet comes with one shelf, two doors, a lock, and 4 plastic feet for the bottom. I try and build on cardboard if it is a hard floor. If it's a carpeted floor and it's clean, then I usually just build on the carpet. First I go through and I pick out all the pieces. First I start with the pins. The pins and the dowels will hold everything together. They screw in. You can use a screwdriver or you can just use your hands. Next, we'll put in all the cams. These two pieces are the top of the cabinet. If you're going to mount a surface to it, these are the pieces you would mount the surface to. There's a top and a bottom, front and a back. Sometimes you just have to pay attention to how the back piece is going to attach to it. If you had the bottom piece on backwards, then that back piece will not sit on there properly. Each piece has a left and a right sticker on it, an R and an L. Helps you place the pieces a little bit better. You can use a screw gun, or you can just use a handheld screwdriver, Philly number 2, Philly number 3, or a flathead screwdriver will tighten all of these. On the bottom you have a polyurethane glide. These glides are good for hardwood floors. They don't mark up the floor. I add a L bracket to the bottom kick plate just to hold it on. Some people keep this L bracket off so that they can level it easier. I prefer to put it on because when I'm moving it around, it sometimes pops off. So those are the doors. Each door takes 2 hinges. One door will take a lock and the other door will just take a locking plate. The plate will bump up against the lock door, preventing it from opening. The hinges take 2 screws each, Phillies, number 2. You can use a screw gun or you can do it by hand. On this door it takes the lock. So it has a beauty ring that sits on the front and the lock that slides in through the back. 4 screws hold it to the door. I usually put the handles on towards the end. So there's the lock in the corner. and the two hinges. When you install the lock, you should try and make sure that the locking pin is going upwards. The locking plate for the cabinet will be on surface of the common top for the credenza. So right now I'm putting the hinges and the locking plate on for this door. So that locking plate up in the corner that I pointed to at first, that will bump up against the other door to prevent it from opening while the other door is locked. To take out that drawer, there's two tabs. One will go up and one will go down. If you do them at the same time and give it a little bit of a pull, it should pop out. Underneath both cabinets will get 4 bolts. To add the common top, you must remove the dowels. Some dowels you can pull out by hand, some you have to use pliers. I level out the cabinet before I put the surface on. It's a little bit easier this way. Both units aren't together when you're trying to level it. There's a front and a back to the surface. If you have the surface backwards, the bolts won't line up. So you'll have to take it and flip it and go the other way. There is no stickers on these surfaces to show the front and back. You could take out a measuring tape and measure. There's a difference of, I think, about 1/2 inch. So each cabinet takes 4 bolts. It's an Allen key. They provide an Allen key with the bolts. I loosely put in all the bolts so that everything lines up. Sometimes you have to give it a little shake and wiggle and get it to line up the first time. But once they start lining up, most of them will just continue to line up. So once you have all the bolts in, go through, tighten them up. They don't have to be overly tight, but tight enough so that that surface isn't going to move around. Next, I'm putting in the shelf pins. If I put in the shelf now, it's a little bit easier than when the doors are on. When the doors are on, it creates a smaller gap for that shelf to go in. Pick a door, left or right, start with it. Start from the top and work your way down. There's some pre-drilled holes for the machine screw holes to go into. Once you get the door screwed on, you will then have to readjust it. So here's a little bit better of a view. And now I usually put on the handle, because once the doors get shut, I'm locked out. This is the locking pin that I'm trying to line up. This locking pin holds the door locked. When the lock slides up, it will hit this locking pin and prevent it from opening. And then the locking plate on the door on the left will hold it from opening when it is all locked. These are the handles. Today they have silver. 2 screws, Phillips. Sometimes they're better to put in with a hand screwdriver, but if you're handy with a drill, sometimes it's a little bit quicker. So you can see that the doors are off now, and these are the screws to adjust. So the one on the right will pull it out, on the pin on the left will pull in the whole door, and sometimes you need to slide the whole door up and down, so you'll need to loosen the first screws that you put in to move it up and down. Adjusting the doors is one of the more difficult parts of this installation. Sometimes if your doors aren't leveling up properly, check your level. If the level's off, then it will mess with your doors. But you can also make your doors look nicer if you can't level your credenza properly or your cabinet properly. The adjusting hinges will help that. Sometimes the floors are just too off and you can't fully level something. That is the 2-door cabinet attached to a 2-drawer lateral with a common top to make it a nice credenza. Give it a quick wipe down and it is ready to go.